My name is Matthew Cook, and this is How to Fire a Cop and Change Everything. There's always been a tension in law enforcement, or any field for that matter, between working for the public good and letting power run amok. For a page-turning history, there's one book that stands above the rest, and that's Radley Balko's Rise of the Warrior Cop. If you download the audiobook, you'll be helping support this series. So back in 1995, there's a guy named Van Jones, and he starts the Bay Area Police Watch, a lawyer referral service for victims of police abuse. As soon as it was set up, their hotline started receiving 15 calls a day. Van said, just because somebody calls and says Officer so-and-so did something to me, it doesn't mean something actually happened. But once you get 6 phone calls about the same officer, you see a pattern, and you can try and take affirmative steps.
Do you think it's hard to get a teacher fired or your boss disciplined? Try to get a cop fired. That takes an awful lot.
For 2 years, Van and Police Watch led a campaign against a dangerous killer named Officer Mark Ondaya.
He'd actually killed 2 unarmed African-American men. Jerry Stansel, who he shot.
Jerry Stansel suffered from a mental illness. He was walking across the street.
And the police officer goes over to him, starts a fight, starts losing the fight, shoots the guy, reloads, shoots him again, including once in the head.
A few years later, Officer Ondaya kills another unarmed man.
Aaron Williams, who he beat and stomped and pepper sprayed to death. This guy had 5 lawsuits against him, 27 formal complaints against him, but he was still on the police force.
Oftentimes when we put the truth in front of any part of our criminal justice system, it's not enough. We have to bring the facts to the people. And that's what Van Jones and his partners did.
We discovered that the police commission met every Wednesday night. So what we did was we went and got hundreds of people from the community to stand in long lines and use their right to talk about what was going on. Everybody had, I think, 2 minutes or 3 minutes. We had people going out the back of the building sometimes. And we had young people doing poetry, expressing themselves for the first time. And ultimately, 4 out of 5 of the police commissioners just quit. The mayor had to appoint a whole new commission.
We have decided on a 4-0 vote to accept the chief's recommendation to terminate the officer.
That was an important moment for us to realize that these are just human beings, and they can be reasoned with or they can be pressured to do the right thing.
Since that time, Van Jones won a Human Rights Award. He stopped a super jail for juveniles. He wrote a best-selling book on revitalizing our economy with new energy and served as a White House advisor. Most recently, he's created Cut 50, a national bipartisan effort to safely reduce our prison population by 50% over the next 10 years, which is an appropriate response, the minimum response that we should take.
We have a massive human rights catastrophe. Some of these people doing 30 years for nonviolent drug offenses, you get 25 years for shooting a cop. That's a human rights disaster.
And what Van Jones and the community did in San Francisco, we can do on a national level.
There is a bill right now in Congress called the Safe Justice Act.
The Safe Justice Act bill, if it became a law, would roll back mandatory minimums, increase incentives for rehabilitation, and expand release programs for elderly prisoners so harmless men and women don't spend their dying days behind bars.
And so if you believe in liberty and justice for all, if you're a Democrat or a Republican, you got to stand together on this.
If we get 1 million people to sign this thing, we'll have one of the biggest citizen coalitions for reforming criminal justice in history.
To lead means to go first, but often the leaders are afraid to go first. They need to see the people go first.
Let's change lives, bring families back together, reunite children, fathers, mothers, and grandparents with just a few clicks and keystrokes. Visit justicereformnow.org and download Rise of the Military Cop to hear an unbelievable piece of the puzzle revealing where we are today and help support this series. You can use the link in the description